current event we have here is last piece of foreign policy. We have stuff going on, developments with the Palestine-Israeli conflict.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of an offshoot of what's happening in Gaza, in that recently the Houthis in Yemen, which are kind of a militant group, terrorist organization, which are backed by Iran, have been firing missiles and attacking with drones ships that are going through the Red Sea and specifically the Suez Canal. So about 12% of all shipping is done through the Suez Canal every year. It's the fastest route from Europe and Africa into Asia. But the Houthis, in protest of Israel's bombing of Gaza, have been attacking ships that have gone through there now. So this is massively interrupting trade. Already 12 major shipping companies have announced that they're stopping shipments through the canal and instead is routing them around Cape Horn at the southern tip of Africa, which adds weeks to the duration of these trips and, of course, a lot of cost to them as well.
Right. The inefficiency is insane not going through the Suez Canal.
Yeah, it's terrible. So today, the U.S. launched a multinational operation to protect shipping companies going through the canal. The U.S. Navy has already been in the Red Sea attempting to shoot down whatever Houthi missiles and drones it sees coming in, but they don't have the capacity on their own to cover all of the area that they want to. And so Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin said that the UK, Bahrain, Canada, France, Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, Seychelles, and Spain would all participate in the program, which is a very good sign. It's not clear if they'll act the same way as the US, but they are going to be helping in some way at least.
It's interesting that you said that it doesn't seem like we have the resources necessary to cover the whole shipping route. I think we don't talk enough about the inefficiencies in the U.S. military. I shouldn't say inefficiencies, but the lack of ability that we do have. We think about the U.S. military as this overall behemoth superhero that can do everything, and it honestly can't. We should do a deep dive on this. I think I would like to, because I think we have a large deficit in the amount of guns we produce, in the amount of artillery shells we produce, in our overall artillery capacity. Even if we were to ramp it up, we have large deficits in this. And now we see that the United States now needs to work with other countries more than it had to even 2 decades ago to secure peace and security in certain regions of the globe.
Yeah, we've been pulling back, and part of that has been consciously, right? Because it's going to be less in our interest to patrol the global seas. And of course we're spread thin right now, right? We've been trying to aid Ukraine in their war. We've been supplying Israel in their assault of Gaza. Not to mention, we're constantly running FONOPs in the South China Sea, drills to try to establish the freedom of navigation there, while China is trying to claim the whole South China Sea as its own and encroaching upon the exclusive economic zones of other countries in the region. So we're needed in too many places right now to be able to assist every region to the fullest of our capacity.
And I like that the United States looks like they're working more with their partners than they did in the past. Like, we're making a decisive effort to be like, hey, let's have you guys cover this section, you guys cover this section. And it looks like they're trying to rope the national security of the world and into a larger mosaic of nations rather than just have the US at it alone. Like, think about the war in Iraq was like really just the United States and the UK, right? All of Europe didn't follow us for rightful reasons. But the point is, it looks like America has more of a reason and a more desire to paint that mosaic picture of national and international security than it did 2 decades ago.
Yeah, and I wonder how much of that is a strategic plan on their part, not only to paint the picture, but also to go to their allies and say, hey, we are too stretched legitimately. We can't just go do this all on our own. We need some of your ships to come in and help us patrol.
Yeah.
The one other point I'll make is oil prices are already rising because of the situation, because of the length of the shipping routes. And that's a very kind of detached way to look at it, I think. But this did get me thinking about how when the prices rise for these basic necessities, for fuel that creates our energy, those prices they burden the people at the lowest end of the economic spectrum the most.
For sure.
So if this initiative can help more oil go through the Suez Canal and be delivered much more cheaply than it is when it goes around Cape Horn, I'm on board.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think I don't want to make this this is so gross economy bro of me.
Yeah.
But oh God, it's just going to hurt our inflation report next month. Right? Are you serious? We are just rounding the corner.
Yeah.
As I'm saying this, December, January, February last year was some of the worst months. If we can get the average down on those months this year, oh man, we'll be chilling. If this causes oil prices to rise, kiss that out the window.
No, I hear you. And even past the U.S., there were concerns reported in this article from the global community about global inflation being restarted because of this.
Yeah.
So I certainly hope not.
Totally unacceptable. You cannot interfere with global trade like this.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.